Holy God, bro. Uh, that is like so insane of a whip right there. That is literally a whip flip. New trick, just invented it, boys. Don't worry. Oh, that right there is the definition of being able to whip a little too much, like a little too unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of makes all out whipping, in my opinion, a little bit too fantasy, a little bit too far. Whereas like reflex keeps it somewhat more on that real, somewhat real level to a certain extent. But she's free. There ain't no doubt about it, boys. And I wanted to come in here and test out their brand spanking new terrain deformation little update changes that they've made to it. I know I went in there and kind of jacked with it a little bit, but I wanted to actually do a full-blown rut tester video on it on a supercross track like this, where you're really going to see a lot of terrain deformation going on. Like you're going to have, a full group of bikes on one tight little supercross track like this. So I wanted to do that so I could really get a good little vibe on what's actually going on here. I'm on the 252 smoker. You know what it is, baby. 2 strokes forever. So, yeah, just clarifying if I'm not hitting some of these huge quad lines. I am on a actual 252 stroke and not a 450. So this is a pretty cool little supercross track design right here. One of my favorite ones in this game, honestly. This specific one on the actual goat farm track right here. This reminds me a lot of that. Didn't any of you other guys get this sort of vibe? It reminds me a lot of the little supercross tracks on the James Stewart compound in MX vs ATV Alive. Like almost feels exactly like that right here. That is crazy. I just now realized how similar it feels to that, but it is like super, super similar to those, just in the overall scaling, the way it feels, kind of the, the certain jump lines and stuff, the overall width of the track and all that. So you can see a little bit of rotation going on here already. Woo! Whipping her out, Thug Nasty Fatty. Okay, that is definitely already rutting down some there. It's making like one hardcore line, seemed like sort of where everybody was going there on that first lap, and then once we get going here a little more, it'll kind of separate through some. Damn, dudes, look at that monster-ass trench of a rut that it's already made on the outside right there. Holy God. That is definitely going to make that, hitting that triple from the inside, a lot more tricky on this bike. So you can kind of over-jump into the whoops right here. I apologize, boys. I'm a little hungover today. Went a little hardcore on the Miller time last night, boys. Got a little too hardcore on it. Drank like 6-7 Millers and a half a bottle of champagne ski. And, yeah. Let's just say today's Spency boy's a little slow. So, yeah. Apologize for my commentary being a little like, you know what it is, what's up, my days, like that. Kind of get that way sometimes when I drank the night before. So yeah, so this right here, you can kind of jump up the inside. So yeah, I know the clutch trick was a lot big of a deal back in the Alive days and all of that. Some of you guys played that game back in the day will know exactly what I'm talking about. Basically like holding in your clutch and then dumping your clutch every time you land off of a jump, and it would actually kind of give you like a little boost of speed back in Alive. I don't think it does it quite as much in this game. I think there is still a little bit of it, right? But definitely not to that extent. Okay. So, yeah, you for sure could quad that on the 450, no doubt about it. You can kind of see how it's rutting this up right here, though. Just kind of making a really smoothed out area right there. You kind of see that, just kind of blowed out that little spot. Kind of bizarre how it did that, but lap 5. Okay, it is making a little bit of roughness, actually. That's surprising. I don't remember it really doing that before this recent update. Actually, really making that terrain deformation that's actually like building roughness instead of just ruts. Seems to be making a bit more kind of braking bump sort of vibe down through here, so that's kind of cool. We'll see if that triple gets so hard that you can't hit it like up the inside from it sort of wearing down the face of the jump there where everybody's hitting it. I know that right there is super I hit like a kicker part on the right side of that face, but on the left side is like completely wore down. And this shit right here is getting rough, dog. Pretty rough. So it kind of depends on like how much is pre-made, that whole sort of vibe there. But this corner right here in particular has literally just turned out into a full-blown, like, ATV, get the hell off my motocross track type vibe, terrain deformation feeling over there. Literally feels like just a couple of ATVs been riding on your track. Holy God, that has rutted down to the point of, it's all the way down to the gutter over there. Oh my God, Doug. Like, I'll try to pause that here in a second and show that to you. I really wasn't expecting it to do like that. Okay, we can still hit that up the inside because it seems like all the AI is going in that same outside line over there. So, but let me take the outsider here, kind of show you. Look at the difference. Like, holy God, this is a kind of a different area, but look at the difference. You can see what the face is supposed to look like right over there on the right, right? You can see where we've all been going. So they've definitely added so much more of that actually like warping and deteriorating the face itself, which is going to completely change how big you can jump something. If you go right down in the grooved area and it's a really, really hard jump that you barely make as it is anyways, you may not be able to hit it anymore, see? So that's something I didn't really think this game's terrain deformation had a lot of at the beginning. First of all, it didn't even do this much at all at the beginning. It wasn't even like this, right? And it also, if my memory serves me correctly, there's that little quad ski. If my memory serves me correctly, it didn't wear down the actual jump faces this much either. But it's interesting, though, because that's the only corner that seems to be making that sort of ATV blowed out rut type vibe, like just super smoothed out area. What the hell trick am I doing? All the other corners don't really seem to be doing quite like that. I don't know if it's because the AI is taking different lines in other areas, but they're all kind of going in the exact same line in that specific area, but it really does seem to be making different kind of, like, certain corners will have more roughness than other corners. There's a lot of roughness coming off the landing of that right there, where some of these other spots don't really have as much roughness. It's really interesting how it seems to be like it all depends on what exact corner you're in, what exact jump you're coming off of. It doesn't just all feel the same, you know what I mean? That's badass. I'm really glad to see that. I'm really glad to see how some of it seems to actually feel different. Like, let me kind of show you. See if I can jump up to here. Okay. Like, totally blow that entire corner out right there. Just completely smoothed her out. Seems like that's what it did a lot at the beginning, right? It would just make a lot of those almost like you just had ATVs on the track when you didn't even have ATVs on the track. You just had bikes on the track. Yo, we're in the gutter here, boys, getting dirty on them. Holy shit. That's cool how it can even, like, do that, you know what I mean? Go all the way down to the gutter. I don't know if we can dig even more down on it right there, but we'll see. But it is certainly changing the track, right? Like, some of you guys that think that the official Monster Energy Supercross actually has, like, terrain deformation and, like, it's all... No, that is not terrain deformation compared to this. This is what you call actually changing the track. that happens in those official Monster Energy Supercross games, those milestone games, that shit ain't even remotely changing the actual track itself. It's not. It's all visual, right? So those games, it's all more of just it looks like it's changing something when it's really not. And this right here, it literally is physically changing the track itself like it's supposed to, right? I don't know how Milestone's terrain deformation system even does that. It's so weird how it looks like it's doing a lot, and it looks like you're on this super rutted up track and shit, and it like makes all these like little visual small micro ruts and stuff through the track, so it looks super realistic. It looks amazing, but when you actually get on it, you realize it's not even really making ruts that you can actually get into anyways. Like you really can't. And once you realize that about the terrain deformation of those milestone games, it's definitely a laughable moment for sure. They got to improve on that in the future, no doubt about it. But yeah, I can kind of squirt up that inside of that triple there where nobody's wore down the face and still get over it just fine. So you can kind of play on some of the different lines that the AI hasn't hit yet. And see, it's kind of getting that vibe like what MX Simulator gets sometimes with their terrain deformation, where you'll kind of build a kicker off of a jump, but it'll actually help you in a way because it kicks you up higher and you can jump a bigger line than what you would normally be able to hit. So I noticed that right there. I was able to quad plumb over that one, down in that one landing area of that, off of that. It was a little on-off table area after the big triple, that section after the big the main 85-foot triple over there, right? I was able to hit that a lot bigger because of the kicker that had been created from the terrain deformation. So that was certainly interesting. Man, I find it to be really hard to go on-off of tabletops in this game. I don't know why that is, but I feel like I have a really hard time doing that. Like, the bike won't get the momentum to carry me through a lot of time. A lot of time it just seems better to jump plumb over the on-off tabletop area versus trying to go actually on and off of it, you know what I mean? See that kicker right there? Kicks me plumb over to this right here. And see, in that occasion, before you that jump before the whoops, you don't want to hit the kicker on that, because all you're going to do is just take up more airtime and jump plumb into the whoops. And, oh, dude, look, it's my little custom rider. I was seeing Turley. I was like, what the hell? That's my little custom rider I'd made in the game. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Of course, he had the same, activist sort of gear vibe that I've kept in this game from day one. You gotta love it, dog. But yeah, the roughness is certainly, it's getting damn near motocross level roughness. But the thing about it is, with this game, the roughness, it doesn't really affect you that much. It certainly affects you more than it would in a milestone game, for sure. That roughness in those milestone games pretty much does absolutely nothing. In the whoops and all that in the milestone games, you might as well have a flat track, because that's what it really feels like at the end of the day. Like, it's not actually really changing a lot. So, what I'm trying to get at, though, is it still has a softness to it. Like, even though you can have all this roughness on the track, it still has a plushy, cushy softness at the end of the day. So it's not just like you're going to flip right over the handlebars like you would on MX Simulator, with it building this kind of crazy terrain deformed, roughness like that. It's not just going to instantly pop you off the bike like it would on MX Sim. And it's not like it's building ruts that you literally cannot go through like it does on MX Sim, and that weird sort of splicing triangled effect that it does with MX Sim. It's not doing that, right? So it's giving you more of an actual rut look. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's certainly improved from the beginning days of this, and obviously from Alive and MX vs. ATV Supercross. This is certainly stepping her back in the right direction in the terrain deformation side of it. Like, if you just took this terrain deformation, put it in a game with the physics more like reflex, and then continued to advance on this terrain deformation, you could really make something cool out of it. And I feel like that's what they're trying to work to in their next MX vs. ATV game, like they said in the comment that they left me on my one video, right? Basically saying they were trying to go in there and test all this stuff in All Out, and then really go hard in the next MX vs. ATV game and make that full-blown, more of that reflex level experience. So be cool to see how the terrain deformation system sort of advances from this and then into their next game with those sort of physics. That'll be really cool to see. But even that corner hasn't done the whole blown out ATV, blown out sort of berm in the corner over there. Starting to do it a little bit more right here. You can kind of see the vibe there. Let's see. But yeah, just the overall, I don't know what it is, just feels exactly like that. Specifically the red clay dirt Supercross track on the James Stewart compound of Alive. That's the one I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the other one that's more of a standard, what is it, kind of like a gray, sandy, white dirt coloration Supercross track. This is a lot similar to you guys know the one I'm talking about, the red clay famous James Stewart Supercross track on his actual compound. So if you don't seat bounce there, you can just triple up over to that. Sorry guys, this may be the first time I've ever actually sat down and really rode on this track too, so I don't just know the lines like the back of my hand, you know what I mean? So I apologize for not hooking everything just 100% perfect and all that bullshit. It's not really the point. I'm just trying to get on here and test out this terrain deformation, but it is jacking up some of those little split lane sections and stuff, right? It is tearing them bitches up. Oh, it's a little too far forward there. Bit my ass, boy. Endometriosis. All right, so let's go. So you can still rail the outside, and even if you're hitting that part that's completely wore down, I don't feel like it's quite it visually looks like it's really wearing it down, but I don't really think in that specific occasion, that specific triple, I don't really think it's wearing it down to the point where it's like you can't hit that triple. You know what I'm getting at? I mean, it's more of like making it maybe 5 to 10% harder to hit. I'm 14, guys. Little voice crack. Goddamn, that's my blew out my freaking vocal cords last night with a little fun ski drunk night. But so basically, what I'm getting at is like it's only really making it like maybe 5 to 10% more difficult to hit certain jumps with it being wore down in areas. So it's not like, you know, life or death changing that to that extent, I don't feel like. But lap 15 here, dudes. So yeah, really wearing that down right there. Super rough right up in here. Made quite a bit of braking bumps there, and then some roughness going into this corner now. Got a lot of roughness going up to that. So like if I go right here and hit this, it's just gonna pop me up like unnecessarily amounts of airtime, and you don't really need all that airtime because you're not really having to jump anything extra right there. So really no point to it. But yeah, it'll certainly kind of send the bike in a squirrely direction when it starts getting like this, because it's just kind of hard to keep the bike straight. You can do it on areas like that pretty well, but let's see. Let's try to kind of run a little heater here or something. See if we can get it going. Always throwing the Thug Nasty Whips over the finish line there. Hasn't really dug a whole lot more down into the little damn culvert area right there, right? Little gutter area. Okay. Let's see if we can get this in like first person or something, kind of get a little bit of a look at the ruts. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hitting that triple like that with the sun right in your eyes. It's like I can't see where I'm going at all. Okay. I'm actually quite impressed with their first-person camera, dude. Oh, just ride the wheelie out, baby. Damn near did a James Stewart wheelie through the whoops. Like in James Stewart 2009 Yamaha days, you know what it is. James Stewart 252 stroke, right? He did that whole video on that Yamaha YZ 252 stroke. That's pretty cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, James Stewart officially retired. Wow. Shocker. Pretty sure we all expected that one. Okay, so it's interesting how the whoops get a really wore-down path, and then they're just, like, you better go down in that wore-down path because it's just going to be smaller whoops every time there, so you're just kind of better off to run right into them like that, right? There's the gutter jump. Culvert jump. Okay, not jumping. I just fucking hate having a seat bounce button in a modern day motocross game. I know you can take it out, but like I just don't know why. I just feel like that is such an outdated feature in motocross games. It's so annoying. You just feel like you're click, click. Over every single jump, you know what I'm saying? It's what you feel like you're doing. It's just like, God, it gets kind of annoying sometimes, man. Fucking drone cam, get out the way, hoss. Whoa. Railed ass around that corner. Dude, this is so crazy. Riding in this drone cam like this. Oh my God. You gotta love this shit, dude. So it's making a little bit of an inside rut right there, isn't it? I think it actually kind of is. Oh yeah, baby. Backwards. Okay, either way, boys, we're here on... Holy God, that dude jumped to the moon and back. Good Lord. Gannon was a goddamn cannon on that. Going up here to the last lap. So yeah, certainly made a lot more roughness in areas like right up in here. The finish line is just trashy. Lots of huge braking bumps going right up to it. Didn't really dig a whole lot more down into that little culvert area. What the hell? So certain corners, a lot more roughness. Some corners a little more smooth. You know, bigger berm, blowed out rut style. A lot of different stuff going on here. Whoops get real wore down in certain areas. So certainly wouldn't say it's perfect, but, you know, she's stepping in the right way here, and I think it's got some potential when we get more to the next MX4's ATV game. Nice little inside rut right there that I grabbed. And you can grab this inside. See, it's not, I guess, it's trying to find that where you can really get in an inside rut, like a secondary line like that. It's kind of hard to do that in this game as it is, and it even being worth it, right? So that's kind of a little bit of a trick they're going to have to figure out with the next one, is making it to where the ruts are soft enough, but they can also grab you. So you can actually be taking completely different lines on some different terrain deformed areas, but either way it is, as another rut tester video. Tried to take that inside right there, completely failed. So yeah, be back on the next one. I'm going to keep on doing it, keep on working hard, man. You know what it is, dancing my ass off. Later, dudes.